Finally, last but not least, we have Manchester United, arguably the biggest club of the bunch, arguably the most troubled club of the bunch. Where do we start with Manchester United? Probably this summer. I mean, we don't need to go over too much ground for them. In summary, 10 years without a title, 10 years since Fergie has left, multiple rebuild after multiple rebuild, and the latest one is going to start with Eric Ten Hag. Now, this was supposed to be the summer of a hard reset and optimism for Manchester United. Why is that? Well, they brought in Eric Ten Hag as coach. So this is a guy that's had great success with Ajax in the Eredivisie. It's a guy that guided Ajax to the semi-finals of the Champions League against Tottenham a couple of years ago, where they were desperately unlucky not to go through to the final against Liverpool. This is a guy that took his Ajax team, which would have been rank outsiders during last season's Champions League, to the highest scoring team throughout the group stage. So a lot of room and pause for optimism with him. As well as that, this was supposed to be the summer at Manchester United where they cleared out a lot of the players that just haven't been up to it, haven't delivered, have been well past it, not up to Premier League, Champions League contending level. And this was supposed to be the summer. A lot of them were supposed to exit the club. And so far, we actually have seen a fair reduction in the wage bill. So some of the players that have left so far: Edinson Cavani released, Jesse Lingard and Juan Mata released, Nemanja Matic in a free to Roma, Paul Pogba in a free to Juventus, and Andrea Pereira to Fulham for a fee believed to be about 13 million. Now, out of a lot of those departures, a lot of those players could have been sold at much earlier points, and if United had some sort of savviness about them, they probably would have recouped some fees for at least a couple of those players. However, in the very least, the bare minimum of their exits represents a significant reduction in the wage bill. You're probably looking between Lingard, Matic, Pogba, and Cavani, the guts of about £800,000 per week. Now, during the midst of all this, we also have Cristiano Ronaldo, highest paid player in the Premier League, who's also linked with a move away to the club to Chelsea. And Ronaldo's on somewhere around half a million a week. If he's added to that list, you've got £1.3 million per week you can use to attract players. Out of all that budget, which is budget that's probably bigger than most teams in the Premier League, they've attracted solely Tyrell Malacia. That is the one and only deal they have got completely confirmed over the line, seen in a Manchester United jersey presented to the club. Yikes. Now, there's a lot of time left in the transfer window, but you would like to see significant improvement on that so far. Now, in fairness to United, things have heated up over the last couple of days. They are rumored to be in advanced talks now with Lisandro Martinez, the Ten Hag centre back at Ajax, with United officials out in Amsterdam to try and get that deal over the line. So we'll give them the benefit of the doubt there, even though, look, United have been in these types of situations before and deals have collapsed for whatever reason. But that does, much like the Koulibaly deal to Chelsea there, that does look like it could get over the line imminently. So we'll give them the benefit of the doubt there. The other players they're linked with are quite peculiar as well, because not only is Martinez a former player of Ten Hag's, but so is Anthony, the right winger from Ajax that they're also linked with. So is Frankie de Jong at Barcelona, who they've also been heavily linked with throughout the entire window. Now, the de Jong one is particularly interesting, much less because Barca want to get rid of him just to kind of clear up some of their dire financial situation, but they can't exactly because De Jong is one of these Barcelona players that accepted the fair payments during the pandemic, as in he wasn't going to not receive the money, but he was happy not to receive the money while obviously the world had shut down. He's now going to want to look for that money back, particularly if he's going to be pushed out the door, which he doesn't want to do. He's already said, well, he's flattered by the Manchester United interest. He's already at the biggest club in the world at the moment. And it's a familiar tactic from United, circling a player for an entire summer. We've seen it before with Sancho 2 years ago, where they spent the entire summer chasing him, only to wait in the following year to bring him in. Now, look, with Sancho, in fairness, they get their guy. While he had a slow start to his career at Old Trafford, he did pick up in the second half of last season and look quite promising. But given the need and the long-term need for a centre midfielder at Manchester United, do you really want to spend and make the marquee signing of your rebuild a guy that doesn't even want to be at the club? Probably not. It's fascinating with United how there's such fixation on one particular target. They don't immediately go to target B, target C. I mentioned there in an Arsenal video that they probably should have gone after Yuri Tielemans, someone that is probably known and open to moving to a bigger club, Leicester City, with all due respect. Why aren't United in for him? Why aren't United circling players like that, players of his ilk? It's quite puzzling because it's something that United have typically always gone for. This problem of centre midfielder has been staring at them since the exit of Michael Carrick at the club. And every single time they do the same thing over and over again. They go for the sexy winger striker, whether it's Alexis Sanchez, Memphis Depay, Angel Di Maria, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Romelu Lukaku. The list goes on. Radamel Falcao. The list goes on and on and on. This is an area that they've neglected. They thought they had the answer in Fred, who, albeit he has had moments, but him and McTominay should be squad players in a United team. They shouldn't be the regular starters, much less the Man U match over the last couple of years. So, with all that said, at United, while they are pushing for players, there's so many positions in need here. Okay, if they can get Martinez over the line, that at least brings a new centre back into the club. You still need a midfielder. You still need a right winger. You still need, particularly with Ronaldo. If Ronaldo leaves, you obviously need a striker. I don't think any United fans confident with Anthony Martial leading the line for the rest of for the rest of the upcoming season. But even if Ronaldo stays, he's 37. You're going to have to replace him sooner or later, most likely in the next season as it is. So with that said, well, I think United have made some positives in clearing a lot of their wage bill. So far, they've had one sole signing that they've brought in Tyrell Malacia, and they have a verbal agreement in with Christian Eriksen. Now, obviously, with Ericsson's medical history, that's going to be quite an extensive medical. So fingers crossed for him, just because we want to see him play professional football, especially after the great back end of last season that he had with Brentford. But that's one to confirm signing, one verbal agreement, another in advanced talks, and there's probably about 6, 7, 8 players needed still. Now, if they get three, realistically, you probably might only need two or three more in this window. But there is only about coming into this season about 12 or 13 players at Man United that you deem to be worthy to stay at the club. So there's a lot of work needed. Some work has been done, probably not enough. So with Martinez being linked and Ericsson in a verbal agreement, I was looking at this initially as a D, given that they'd only Malacia across the board. But with Martinez in advanced talks and Ericsson, who should sign barring any major complications, would probably give United a C. It's the worst grade of the bunch only because it's the most work to do. This is a team that car crashed their way towards sixth and very nearly ended up in the Conference League. A disaster given where we thought they would be at the start of last season.